ultimately we're all responsible in making the web accessible to everyone.
We live in a day and age where it's really easy to put information out there and to share information. So in my view, everyone has a responsibility to do that.
You shouldn't have any kind of barrier to you if you're trying to access important information.
Web accessibility, in essence, is making websites accessible to people of all abilities.
Well, in terms of accessibility, there's two sides of the coin that need to be addressed. One is to make sure that consumers have all the tools they need, things like a screen reader, on-screen keyboard, on-screen alerts. But in order for those technologies to work, you have to design the web and the web pages and web materials in a particular way.
I find making payments on the internet really difficult. Often there's sections that I've missed to fill in, or I've pressed an incorrect button because I don't know where I am on the page.
Web content accessibility guidelines have two very clear things about forms that need to be addressed. One is to make sure that the form is correctly labelled so that people know exactly what needs to be input into a form. And the second one, to make sure that any errors are very clearly identified at the point where the error occurred. So if those two things are done, then that will make forms much, much easier for people with disabilities to use.
Fancy lettering, like if you get cursive writing on there, it tends to disappear because it becomes very thin.
There's two really important issues when it comes to fonts. The first one is that it's really important that developers don't use values such as pixels or points, and that they use EM values. The other thing is it's really important that people use a sans serif font like Arial.
Most of the kids in our mentoring programs, they get sent links to videos from friends that don't have captions, so they can't watch them. So it's a whole kind of area of just being connected and communication that they can't be a part of.
Captions are one of the really big issues at the moment on the internet. For someone who's deaf or hearing impaired, that's really vital in making sure that a video is accessible. It's something which has improved a lot recently. YouTube now have the option where you can upload a video with YouTube and then get Google to automatically put captions on. In the coming years, we're really likely to see a big change in the use of captions. I think it's going to increase a lot.
Typically colours in general on a website, a light colour, a turquoisey light colour on a light background, I can't see it, it's just not visible to me.
Colours and contrast are a really important part. Many people have colour blindness, and it's still a popular trait on web pages to use colour to flag if something's happened. What the W3C recommends is that people find other ways to demonstrate that a change has occurred. So you could put like a box around something, you could put some sort of symbol next to something to show that action's taken place instead of colour.
A lot of stuff these days is in PDF format, and Zoom text sometimes can't read the PDF format.
One of the common problems with PDFs is often they're actually not a text file. It's just someone who has, say, used a photocopier, scanned those into a PDF format, and really they're just images. So when someone using assistive technologies like a screen reader goes to that document, they essentially get nothing. They hear nothing. You know, we're used to creating documents, so we create a Word document, let's say, export it to PDF and just, you know, put it up online. But really, can that information just be uploaded directly to the website in HTML, which is generally a lot more accessible than any PDF, even if it has been created in an accessible fashion.
Typically what they do is they hide the next button. They might put it on the far right or right down the bottom, and when you've got a screen magnifier on, you've lost it. It's not on the screen anywhere.
One of the things with a screen magnifier is that when people do zoom in, often they will start at the top left of the screen and then scroll their way around from there. So what that means is that a lot of content that is on the right-hand side of the screen may not be visible to someone with a vision impairment. So it's really important that any really key information on the web page is located roughly around the top left corner. Buttons are an interesting one. If buttons are correctly labelled, they don't necessarily have to be inaccessible. It really comes down to the labelling in the code of those buttons.
Everyone is responsible for making the web more accessible. Everyone from the designer who might have to look at colour contrast and the way a person is going to navigate through a website, to the developer who's actually implementing that as well.